Welcome to our podcast on expanding your English vocabulary together.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in as we explore 6 useful expressions and words today.
Today we'll cover the words appealing, in a mess, beneficial, broken home, capitulate, and deprivation to help new viewers be aware of these vocabs in our podcast. Appealing is an adjective.
It means attractive or interesting, evoking a positive response.
The idea of a free concert in the park sounds very appealing.
She chose the appealing red dress for the evening gala.
The concept of remote work is increasingly appealing to employees.
They found the minimalistic design of the app extremely appealing.
Freshly baked bread with herbs smells particularly appealing.
He described the bright mural as appealing to local tourists.
The idea of volunteering abroad was appealing despite the cost.
She found the compact car's fuel efficiency highly appealing.
The scholarship offer was especially appealing to first-generation students.
He thought the beachfront property was the most appealing option.
The flavor combination of mango and chili proved surprisingly appealing.
She noted that the user interface was both intuitive and appealing.
A flexible schedule was the most appealing benefit at the job fair.
He found her offer of help very appealing after the accident.
The new cafe's cozy atmosphere made it instantly appealing.
She sent an appealing invitation to all her classmates.
The futuristic architecture gave the city skyline an appealing twist.
He found the plot's twist ending especially appealing.
The smartphone's sleek design was marketed as highly appealing.
She made an appealing case for reduced tuition fees.
The promotional video was visually appealing and clear.
He found the book's cover art quite appealing on the shelf.
The soup's rich aroma was immediately appealing on a cold day.
She described the idea of an entrepreneurial retreat as appealing.
The prospect of a pay rise was appealing enough to accept extra hours.
He created an appealing presentation that impressed investors.
The resort's infinity pool view was truly appealing at sunset.
She found the concept of an all-day pastry shop very appealing.
The simplicity of the new workflow was unexpectedly appealing.
He found the neighborhood's quiet streets appealing for families.
The innovative recycling program was appealing to eco-conscious residents.
She crafted an appealing social media post that went viral.
The idea of learning to surf was suddenly appealing on vacation.
He described the combination of music genres as appealing to broad audiences.
The charitable donation matched with government funds was especially appealing.
She praised the appealing color palette of the interior design.
The concept of a 4-day workweek sounds appealing to many workers.
He found the weekly book club meetings appealing for socializing.
The minimal fee for lifetime membership made the gym appealing.
That covers appealing, a word for describing attractive qualities.
In a mess is an idiomatic phrase.
It means in a state of disorder, confusion, or difficulty.
After the move, his apartment was completely in a mess.
She found her desk in a mess of papers and coffee cups.
The kitchen ended up in a mess after the baking experiment.
He realized his finances were in a mess after checking his bank account.
The garden was in a mess following the storm last night.
She felt in a mess emotionally after the breakup.
His schedule was in a mess due to overlapping meetings.
The report's data was in a mess and needed reformatting.
The living room looked in a mess with toys scattered everywhere.
He admitted his workout routine was in a mess after holiday indulgences.
Her hair was in a mess after riding the roller coaster.
The paint supplies left the studio in a mess again.
He found his email inbox in a mess with spam and unread messages.
The campsite was in a mess when they returned from hiking.
She found her schedule in a mess after double booking appointments.
His closet was in a mess with clothes on the floor.
The shipment arrived in a mess after the handling error.
She described her thoughts as in a mess before the exam.
The project's budget went in a mess when costs overran.
He sighed at the car's interior. In a mess with wrappers.
The workshop was in a mess until volunteers reorganized tools.
She felt in a mess mentally juggling work and study.
The cafe schedule was in a mess without a proper booking system.
He returned to a computer in a mess of open tabs.
The paint job left the hallway floor in a mess.
She admitted her morning routine was in a mess after oversleeping.
His financial records were in a mess, needing an accountant's help.
The festival grounds were in a mess after the rain.
She found her playlist in a mess with duplicated songs.
He drove into a garage in a mess of stalled vehicles.
The team's code repository became in a mess without version control.
She realized her diet was in a mess when her energy crashed.
His bedroom stayed in a mess until he scheduled a cleaning day.
The garage sale left the driveway in a mess of unsold items.
He vowed not to let his finances get in a mess again.
She laughed at her notes in a mess after the brainstorming session.
The children left the playroom in a mess every afternoon.
He found his thoughts in a mess before the presentation.
The warehouse was in a mess after the inventory shortage.
That sums up in a mess when order disappears.
Beneficial is an adjective.
It means producing good results or helpful effects.
Regular exercise is beneficial for both body and mind.
She found meditation highly beneficial to her stress levels.
The new tax law proved beneficial to small business owners.
He saw beneficial results after switching to a high-fiber diet.
Collaborative projects can be beneficial for team cohesion.
She discovered beneficial networking at the industry conference.
The vaccine's rollout was beneficial in slowing the outbreak.
He praised the beneficial impact of renewable energy subsidies.
Volunteering can be beneficial to mental health.
She noted the beneficial effects of bilingual education.
The mentorship program offered beneficial guidance to interns.
He learned the beneficial properties of certain herbs.
Early reading habits are beneficial for cognitive development.
She saw beneficial changes in her credit score after budgeting.
The policy was beneficial for reducing traffic congestion.
He reported beneficial cost savings from the new process.
Outdoor play is beneficial for children's creativity.
She wrote about beneficial user experience design principles.
The investment provided beneficial long-term returns.
He discovered beneficial networking through alumni events.
Drinking water first thing in the morning is beneficial to digestion.
She found beneficial routines improved her productivity.
Community gardening proved beneficial for local biodiversity.
He shared beneficial tips on financial planning.
The collaboration had beneficial cross-cultural learning outcomes.
She found beneficial outcomes from her negotiation training.
Sunscreen is beneficial for long-term skin health.
He noted beneficial side effects from the new therapy.
Regular feedback sessions are beneficial to employee morale.
She believed early math skills are beneficial later in life.
The new policy had beneficial effects on staff retention.
He recorded beneficial improvements in his running time.
The partnership yielded beneficial research breakthroughs.
She described beneficial outcomes from dietary changes.
The ergonomic chair was beneficial for his back pain.
He found beneficial support groups for veterans.
Cross-training is beneficial for overall athletic performance.
She noted beneficial cultural exchange and study abroad.
The philanthropic grant had beneficial social impacts.
That shows how beneficial highlights positive effects.
Broken home is a noun phrase.
It refers to a family in which parents have separated or divorced, causing instability.
Growing up in a broken home shaped her resilience.
He studied the impact of a broken home on children's education.
She often felt lonely due to her parents' broken home.
He wrote a memoir about life in a broken home.
Many support groups assist teens from a broken home.
She found comfort in therapy after leaving her broken home.
The novel explores generational trauma from a broken home.
He researched how a broken home affects long-term relationships.
She credits her success to mentors who supported her after a broken home.
He organized a workshop for youth from broken homes.
Her story about overcoming a broken home inspired others.
He found strength in friendships after experiencing a broken home.
She wrote essays on rebuilding trust after a broken home.
He noted higher anxiety levels among those from a broken home.
She joined a club for students from broken homes.
He counseled families to prevent a broken home scenario.
Her poetry reflects the pain of a broken home.
He read studies on career outcomes for children of a broken home.
She found stability in mentors after her broken home experience.
He recorded oral histories from elders who survived a broken home.
She taught coping skills to kids in broken homes.
He launched a podcast on healing from a broken home.
Her research on a broken home led to policy changes.
He organized retreats for families to avoid a broken home.
She found solace in writing about her broken home.
He cited his childhood in a broken home during interviews.
She painted murals representing hope after a broken home.
He provided scholarships for youth from a broken home.
She described her college scholarship as a lifeline after a broken home.
He filmed a documentary on life after a broken home.
She led support circles for individuals from a broken home.
He wrote a song about childhood in a broken home.
She advocated for school counselors to help those in a broken home.
He funded mentoring programs for teens from a broken home.
She quoted poets who endured a broken home.
He researched resilience factors in children from a broken home.
She found volunteering therapeutic after her broken home upbringing.
He shared tips on healing relationships torn by a broken home.
She said community support softens the blow of a broken home.
That conveys how broken home acknowledges family disruption.
Capitulate is a verb.
It means to surrender or cease resisting, often after negotiation or pressure.
The enemy was forced to capitulate after weeks of siege.
He refused to capitulate until he got a fair hearing.
She would not capitulate to peer pressure at school.
The company had to capitulate to consumer demands.
After days of debate, he finally capitulated and signed the contract.
She refused to capitulate to the unfair policy.
The coach urged the team not to capitulate in the final quarter.
He capitulated under intense questioning by the committee.
They would not capitulate until their demands were met.
She capitulated and apologized for her harsh words.
The smaller nation was forced to capitulate in the peace talks.
He would never capitulate to their unreasonable deadlines.
She capitulated when the storm made travel impossible.
He refused to capitulate despite mounting debts.
They finally capitulated and agreed to the merger.
She capitulated after realizing she couldn't change his mind.
The workers refused to capitulate in the labor dispute.
He capitulated when shown irrefutable evidence.
She vowed not to capitulate to intimidation tactics.
He capitulated under peer pressure to join the scheme.
The party eventually capitulated and endorsed the bill.
She did not capitulate even when offered bribes.
They reluctantly capitulated after running out of resources.
He capitulated to their demands to avoid further conflict.
She capitulated and handed over the keys.
He vowed never to capitulate to threats again.
They capitulated once legal action was imminent.
She refused to capitulate in the face of injustice.
The rebels capitulated after losing critical support.
He capitulated when the evidence was overwhelming.
She finished the race without capitulating to fatigue.
He capitulated and disclosed the hidden documents.
The committee capitulated to public pressure.
She never capitulated on her core beliefs.
They capitulated to superior forces in the war game.
He eventually capitulated and accepted defeat gracefully.
She would not capitulate to unethical demands.
He capitulated only after hearing the full argument.
The athletes refused to capitulate until the final whistle.
That's how capitulate captures surrender under pressure.
Deprivation is a noun.
It refers to the lack or denial of something considered essential.
Sleep deprivation can impair cognitive performance severely.
Childhood deprivation of affection can impact adult relationships.
He studied the effects of sensory deprivation in isolation tanks.
Food deprivation posed health risks during the experiment.
She suffered deprivation of oxygen at high altitudes.
Homelessness brings material deprivation and social stigma.
The program provided relief from economic deprivation.
Emotional deprivation can manifest as mood disorders.
Water deprivation in deserts forces adaptation.
She researched sleep deprivation among shift workers.
Social media deprivation led him to appreciate real friendships.
Nutrient deprivation stunted the plant's growth.
Chronic deprivation can lead to long-term health issues.
He wrote on sensory deprivation in virtual reality studies.
Many face energy deprivation in developing regions.
She studied the psychology of emotional deprivation.
Economic deprivation fueled the protests in the city.
He treated cases of sensory deprivation in the lab.
Access to education prevents intellectual deprivation.
She felt creative deprivation without her art supplies.
Isolation can cause social deprivation and anxiety.
He warned about long-term digital deprivation effects.
The clinic addressed sleep deprivation in new parents.
She noted the link between poverty and nutritional deprivation.
Social deprivation can drive people to seek community.
He designed programs to alleviate educational deprivation.
They studied sensory deprivation to understand hallucinations.
He campaigned against the deprivation of civil rights.
She felt culture deprivation living in a remote area.
He provided meals to reduce food deprivation in shelters.
Emotional deprivation in childhood often resurfaces later.
She wrote about digital deprivation during vacations.
Economic deprivation sparked the Community Development Project.
He taught about sleep deprivation in health classes.
Social media deprivation retreats are now trending worldwide.
She researched water deprivation's effects on crops.
They measured sensory deprivation tolerance in divers.
He argued for policy change to reduce material deprivation.
Emotional support groups help cope with social deprivation.
That's how deprivation underlines the impact of absence.
That concludes our deep dive into these 6 essential English expressions and words.
We hope you feel confident using appealing, in a mess, beneficial, broken home, capitulate, and deprivation in your conversations.
Thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more vocabulary insights next time.
Goodbye and keep practicing every day.